Get started. Welcome to Rutgers Wrestling 2017 Media Day. I'm just going to go over a few things from last season and this year. Then Coach Goodale is going to be at the podium, and then we'll have select student-athlete availability behind you. We have 6 wrestlers here for you today. So just some notes from last season. Last season we finished ranked number 12 nationally with a 12-5 dual record and a 6-3 mark in the Big Ten. The 6 wins were the most for Rutgers in Big Ten action since we joined the conference. We sent 7 wrestlers to NCAA championships. We finished with 2 All-Americans in Anthony Ashnault and Ken Theobald. We also had 2 round of 12 participants in Scott Delvecchio and Nicholas Gravina. The 2 All-Americans in back-to-back seasons for Rutgers was the first time that's happened here in program history. And Ashnault became the first 3-time All-American in program history, as well as the first back-to-back Big Ten champion for us. So big things happened last year. This year, we have 8 NCAA qualifiers coming back, 6 who participated last season. We also returned Richie Lewis, who qualified for NCAAs in 2016. And we added Nick Soriano as a Big Ten transfer, who qualified for NCAAs in 2017. Moving forward, November 4th is our home opener. It'll be at High Point Solutions Stadium against Maryland. The match time has just been confirmed. It's at noon. This season we sold 2,000 plus season tickets. That's the most in program history. Our 6 home matches, excluding the Maryland match, we compete against Iowa, Ohio State, North Carolina, Penn State, and Minnesota. Those 6 teams last season produced 41 NCAA qualifiers, 21 All-Americans, 10 championship finalists, and 7 NCAA individual champions. So we're expecting big crowds and big things here at the RAC. Without further ado, we'll bring up Scott. He'll start with an opening statement, and then you can ask him questions. Thank you.
How's it going, guys? First and foremost, want to thank you guys for being here. Obviously, we get some really good coverage when it comes to wrestling, not only in this state but across the country, and it's because of you guys. So I truly appreciate you, again, being part of Media Day and really all you do for us throughout the year. It's great to have the type of coverage that we get. Just a couple things. Preseason, where we're at. We've obviously had a very busy off season. Got back together. September 11th was our first day of preseason, and now we're, October 10th, NCAA rules, you're allowed to start full time. That's where we're at. And this week we're preparing for wrestle-offs, where our guys will have challenge matches on Saturday morning, which will really determine our lineup for the Maryland match. And then after wrestle-offs, we'll start our week preparation, very similar to football, week preparation as we lead into the Maryland match, November 4th, which obviously has been changed from Yankee Stadium to High Point Solutions Stadium. Real quick on an injury report, I'm sure we'll get some questions about it. Anthony Ashnault getting better, still out at this time, looking forward to having him back. When that'll happen, we don't know, and we'll let Anthony determine that. He deserves that. He deserves, he's done enough here where he'll tell us when he's ready to go, and we'll take it from there. And the timeline on that right now is unknown, and again, I'm sure there'll be questions about that. Joe Grello had a minor injury where he had a little bit of an arthroscopic surgery. He's probably going to be out the next 2 weeks, so he probably won't be ready for wrestle-offs, and that will be determined later on as he's in some open tournaments and things like that as he gets back into it. Anthony Messner, broken nose, also out for a couple weeks. So when he gets back, again, that will be determined at a later date. We're not sure right now, but he's probably 2-3 weeks out. And Matt Carenti kind of nicked his knee, starting to get back into it here a little bit. Just to elaborate a little bit more on Carenti, right now it looks like he will wrestle heavyweight, and the plan is to have him redshirt. So, but he's not going to be at 197. He'll be a heavyweight, got bigger, put on some good weight in the off season, and that's one of our national qualifiers who will move up. And the plan for him right now is to redshirt. I want to thank all of our loyal fans in honor of Sam Cali. Season tickets are through the roof. We had a anonymous donor challenge us with a $100,000 gift to our new facility and a room in honor of Sam, and we were able to do that. It's not even November yet. We're able to do that and get that done. So great job to our loyal fans. Over 2,000 season tickets at this point. It's pretty exciting. Makes for an unbelievable wrestling atmosphere here at the RAC, and it's always been a great home match advantage. And we look forward to bringing really the best the best teams in the country into this arena. And Penn State, the defending national champs, Iowa, Minnesota, and Ohio State, who arguably could be the best team in the country coming in right now. So depending on where we're at, what day, it's a really good home schedule. And then our out-of-conference with Hofstra, North Carolina, makes for a really good home slate. So we're excited about that. Obviously, it's been a very busy offseason. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. The acquisition of Nick Sirianno has been really, really important to this program. It was a really big storyline, not only here at Rutgers, but throughout the country. And we're excited that that's over and done with, moved on, and Nick's back to doing what he loves to do, training to prepare himself to win a national tournament. So that's where we're at. Richie Lewis winning a World Team Trials a couple weeks back. Kind of makes his season a little bit different. He'll be with us, really won't miss much and shouldn't miss much, but he will go to Poland and try to win a world title, U23 World Championships on Thanksgiving weekend. So we don't have anything scheduled that weekend, so those are the plans for him. Of course, Ashnault's injury, and again, those are things I'm sure there'll be questions about. So without any further ado, I'll open it up for questions now. We'll make sure you guys get some good opportunity with our athletes going forward.
Scott, what was your reaction to the Yankee Stadium thing? I know you and your team were looking forward to that. Now that it's back here, and you've done that obviously last year, the outside thing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a, really mixed emotions about it. I'm a sports fan. I grew up with my grandfather constantly telling me that he was the only coach and athlete to ever participate and coach in Ebbets Field, the Polo Grounds in Yankee Stadium, which was pretty cool, right? So I want to be able to tell my grandkids we wrestled at Yankee Stadium. I think that'd be pretty cool. That's me being selfish. That's something I really wanted to do. I know we have some guys on our team that really wanted to do that. It's moved. At the end of the day, it's wrestling. I don't care where we wrestle. Let's just wrestle. And that's kind of the way we're going about it. We feel like we got a good time slot. We do want the football fan involved in our wrestling program and to come out and watch a match. Yes, I did write a letter and kind of plea for them to come out, and I got a bunch of emails about sight lines and tailgates. I don't really care about that stuff. So, and that's part of the football experience, and that's great. Our wrestling fans will show up to watch us wrestle, and it doesn't matter where we're at. And that's not a knock on the football fan. I'm a huge college football fan. It's just we're wrestling people. So at the end of the day, put a mat down. Let's find a spot to wrestle, and let's wrestle. And that's the way we're going to go about it.
Nick, how has he affected the team? Or what have you seen since he's been here throughout the team?
Preparation, his work ethic, his focus every day in and day out. We have guys that are tremendously focused. Nick is tremendously focused, and it's every part of his life. It's the way he lives his life, his diet, his sleep habits, his preparation. It's affected our program. There's no question about it. I think we've gotten a bunch of really good guys throughout the last couple years. So they've all added to that, and this is just another level. This is just another mindset that our guys are all well aware of because they've known them growing up, and we have 4 or 5 Berkeley Catholic kids in our program, so they've seen it for 4 years, and they know what it's about, and it's well documented how he trains and how he prepares.
Right now, from watching practices and everything, what weight classes would you consider the most competitive or up for grabs so far?
Well, I think that's a good question. So I think we all talked about our depth, and I don't know if there's, to be honest with you, there's some depth in some weight classes, but there's not a tremendous amount of depth where your backup or your third guy, where they've won at the highest level. So it's a little bit different this year. I would say, probably 141 is a pretty deep weight for us, but without Anthony starting, we have a really good kid in Mikey Van Brill who's being pushed by Pete Lipari. So there's some really good depth at that weight. There's not much at 49, 57. There's not much at 65. Johnny Van Brill who's here today, is a national qualifier, and then there's a really good redshirt freshman who we think could have a good career, but he's never won. Brett Donner's never been in that lineup or has never won at the highest level. So we have some good kids, but we're thin in some spots. We don't really have a backup 84-pounder. We have one guy right now at 97 if we had to start the season today. Ralph Normandia has been in our program for a long time at heavyweight. Rajan's really our starter right now, and Ralph's never really wrestled at the highest level. So there's not much depth there, and there's not much depth throughout the course of our lineup. I think from, our top tier guy, we can compete and wrestle with anybody in the country. But we all know it's a long season. It probably spans, 4 or 5 months, whatever the case might be. So you got to get these guys better, and we got to get them healthy. And certainly these injuries and redshirting guys like Carenti takes a little bit away from your depth. So I don't know what, 41 will be contested. There'll be a good match at 65. That'll be contested this weekend. But for the most part, that's kind of where we're at. Alex Mackel, we're kind of, does he stay down at 25? Does he go up to 33? That's kind of something we're in discussion with him, and he's really good. He just happens to be right now behind 2 really, really good guys. So there's some depth there, but it's kind of it's thin, and we just got to get better. We have a lot of freshmen. We have 8 guys freshmen. We have a couple transfers where we just don't know what we're going to do with them as far as wrestling the redshirt.
Coach, evaluating the wrestling from last season, where do you think this team needs to improve the most?
Everywhere. Yeah, we need to get better in the top game. We need to get better at bottom. We need to be better in neutral position. Match tactics. It's a new team, so it's a little bit different. It's something we put a lot of time in, match tactics and match strategy, knowing where you are in the mat and with certain time left on the clock, when to ride somebody out, when to cut somebody loose. All that stuff is really, really important and vital to having a successful season from an individual standpoint and a team standpoint. And it never ends. As a coach and a staff, we don't ever think we're doing enough, but you just, again, it's constant dialogue and communication with your athletes and what do they need more of. And for some, it's top. It's wrestling on top. For some, it's getting off the bottom. I can tell you, the freshmen, it's just normal. They're always struggling to get off the bottom. So, but all those areas are just stuff we'll continue to work on, and I think our staff does a really good job of making sure all areas are covered.
Scott, obviously, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. There's big expectations outside the program for you guys. It was such a big deal when you got 2 All-Americans in the same year 2 years ago. Now you've done it twice. Is it fair to say the expectation is 3, 4, 5, a top 10 team finish? What are the team expectations?
Yeah, I think that's the expectation. I don't want to sit here and tell you exactly what I think we want to do. I think we keep that in-house, our goal, our team goals. There's a lot of expectations from fans, from wrestling people, from our team, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I don't know why you'd ever want to be involved in this if there's not expectations placed on you and your program. So we get that. I feel that outside noise. I worry about that a little bit too. Sometimes people are telling you how good you are, and you forget what it takes to really be good. So I don't think that's happened yet, but I just don't. And you'll talk to some of our guys, and they're going to be excited about this team. They're going to be excited about Suriano. They're going to be excited about Richie. They're going to be excited about this lineup and what we have, the ability of the lineup that we could put out. But a lot of things have to happen for us to really achieve what we want to achieve at the end of the year. But yeah, I'm sure the expectations are multiple All-Americans, a national champ or 2, and our guys, they believe in that, and that's something we try to keep in-house as much as possible. I'm not going to say we're going to win a national title. I've made that mistake before. I'm not doing that right now, and I'm not even going to say we're going to win a team trophy. I'm going to say we're going to be in the thick of it, and we're going to wrestle our tails off. We're going to do things right along the way, and hopefully at the end of the year, the last 3 days of March, the Block R is being represented on Saturday, and that's the goal for all these guys that are sitting here, and I know those are the expectations from a lot of our fans.
You mentioned Rajon. How has he developed through the offseason?
Well, Rajon's gotten a lot better. He's gotten a lot better. He's put a lot of time in the offseason. He's never had an offseason because he was always involved in football. So he's gotten a lot better. He's probably made the biggest jump from a wrestling standpoint and a technique standpoint just because he was away from it for 3 or 4 years. So he's a 2-time state champ in high school, so he obviously can wrestle, but there's so much more that goes into it, and he's done a really good job of managing the little things and getting better in certain positions. And this isn't to say heavyweights aren't unbelievably active, because the best guys the best wrestler in the world is the heavyweight from Ohio State, right? He's the best wrestler in the world, and he's active. So, but what Rajon's done a really good job of is taking 2 or 3 things and doing them really, really well. He doesn't need 7 or 8 different moves. It's 2 or 3 things. Make sure you can ride somebody out and get off the bottom, and he's going to win a lot of matches because he's athletic, and he's done a good job of honing in on those 2 or 3 things.
2 injury things. Richie, obviously the world performance. Does that show you, if you didn't already know, last year the shoulder is all behind him? He's fully ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously it looked that way, and I think he needed the biggest reason why we sent him out there was because he needed to test it mentally that he was ready to go. And if you know Richie, you know his mind is it could wander on him, and it could be really, really good, and sometimes it's all over the place. And he needed he needed a clear head, knowing that I'm good and ready to go. And he had a great performance. It's the best I've ever seen him wrestle, and obviously he's excited about the year.
And then, is there a time Anthony needs to be back by? Do you want him back by the first Big Ten match or by late January or something in order to be ready?
Yeah, I'd like him back yesterday. That would have been good, but he's not. So I don't know timeline. Again, like I said earlier, I'm going to let Ashton decide when he wants to come back and if he's healthy. And he's got to be healthy enough where he's ready to go in his mind and where he can win at the highest level. Otherwise, we'll take the next step, whatever that next step is. So that's kind of the way we're going about it. I think we have, like I said earlier, we have two really good kids, and we'll be fine at that weight.
Just following up on Sam's question about depth, what's the situation at 149? Obviously, you lost an All-American there. Do you have a wrestle off, or is somebody penciled in there?
Well, the plan was to have Mikey Van Brill up at 49 with Eliezer DeLuca, who's a fifth-year senior. It could be really good. So we would have had some nice depth at 49. Now with Anthony out, the plan, we moved Mikey down to 41, which is probably more his natural weight anyway. Those 49-pounders could be pretty big. So right now it's Eliezer DeLuca, and there's a backup in Nicholas Santos where they'll wrestle each other, but I would say probably Eliezer's the front runner. Do we redshirt Santos or do we wrestle him? You're going to need backups at 49 and 57. And again, there's not a whole lot of depth there. So it'll probably be, if I were a betting man, I would probably say Eliezer DeLuca will start at that weight.
Coach, at 165 last year, there was a rotation of wrestlers. Are you trying to avoid that situation at 49 this year?
Yeah, that would be good. And honestly, we can't even afford to do that. We don't have three guys there. So that's a weight, depth-wise, we're really, really lacking. So it'll be those two, and we'll make a decision on what we do with Santos. And he'll be ready to go all year long. And if he gets in, obviously he won't redshirt. If he doesn't, he'll redshirt.
Coach, there are many seniors on the starting lineup of this team. Does that change the way you could coach this team at all, or nothing changes because of the experience?
You know what? The thing with wrestling is you could be with your guys for a long time. I mean, we've been with these guys even our freshmen, all summer. We're training, and I mean, these guys will tell you maybe more than I will, but we're treating this like any other year, and they all have experience, and we've been with each other for a long time. So it has nothing to do with seniors or freshmen or, at this level, you get in that room, you better be ready to go. I mean, there's no, I'm a freshman, wait till 4 years, because if you're not having success as a freshman, you may never have it. So you better be successful coming in. And that's, I mean, if you're winning matches, that's great, but if you're getting your head beat in, it's hard to ever come back from that. So we don't ever treat it like a senior and a freshman. These guys who are freshmen are committed to this thing and really want to succeed at the highest level. They better be with us year-round and training year-round, obviously within the rules. So it has nothing to do with seniors we have on our team or anything like that. This is the way we train. This is our program, our system, and guys fall in line and go with it. And it's been working. It's a pretty good system. At least we feel that way, and that's where we're at.